Harvest changed quite a bit in 3.19, and so I've decided to run a series of tests, taking old Harvest crafts that I knew were helpful, profitable, or whatever, and trying to find new applications for them. At least, new applications assuming the old ones didn't work already. And so it's story time, because I was looking at how much value you'd get by swapping around the corrupted essences, like I did in a previous video. Unfortunately, PSAs like that tend to be pretty dry and boring. So, to make it more fun, I decided to put my money where my mouth was and go completely overboard. Instead of just swapping around one stack of essences that I happened to have around, I bought a few. And by a few, I mean I bought 234 junk deafening essences. Because it's unsurprising that corrupted essences are profitable. But what about the rest? Is there a sort of price normalization that's taking place as a result of a harvest craft? Or are you pretty free to profit? Well, let me tell you about the most boring way to make 2.5 divines in about 20 minutes. This is far from science, and you probably shouldn't try to reproduce it. Hopefully, though, you'll learn something along the way. So, to start off with, I bought one divine in Primal Crystallized Life Force and threw in the rest that I happened to have lying around for good measure. This ended up being around 11,000 total. I also had some junk essences and bought a bunch more for a total of 234. Up until this point, I'd spent around 440 chaos. At the conversion rate, it's about 0.6C per essence swapped to a different type. These were of course all deafening essences since that's the most profitable tier. Or at the very least, that's what seemed to be the most profitable tier, since it's not like the price scales down with a lesser tier of essence. I was actually surprised at how quickly and easily I got all the cheap essences. I guess now is a pretty good time for it. I wasn't even using something like TFT's bulk trading. I just went to a trade site and messaged a few people that had 40 to 60 of each. They all responded, and it was very, very quick. I then used 38 essence reforges. The end result was 18 essence of loathing, 9 essence of wrath, 18 essence of envy, 54 essence of zeal. I'm not sure if this is weighted higher or it's just RNG. Probably just RNG though. 18 essences of greed, 9 essences of anger, 27 essences of hatred, 27 essences of spite, 18 essences of sorrow, 9 essences of scorn, 18 essences of dread, and 9 essences of woe. Any essence that wasn't worth at least 2C each in bulk, I promptly rolled over. The most expensive by far were the zeal and the loathing. Loathing because they're super valuable. Zeal because I got way too many of them. Though as it turns out, the wrath and envy are also decently high value, the greed, anger, hatred, spite, and sorrow, all pretty decent value, but a little bit less. The remaining couple I probably could have re-rolled for more profit, it just didn't feel worth it to keep rolling the dice and gambling. And then I listed them for sale. Unsurprisingly, they started to sell very quickly. I was almost getting more trades than I could keep up with. It should be noted I didn't just sell the essences you saw earlier in the video. Again, this wasn't super scientific. Instead, I also threw in essences that happened to be sitting around in my tab, converting up to deafening where applicable. But all in all, it took about 20 total minutes from when I bought my first essence after getting the idea to when the last essence sold. And I ended up with about 840 chaos, or a profit of around 400 chaos, which you can round to about 2.5 divines. So is it effective to use the harvest essence swaps on normal essences? If you happen to be able to buy a bunch cheaply, yes, it was actually pretty darn time and currency efficient. Is this something that I suggest people go do? No, absolutely not. If you try to copy this, there's a very good chance the market will be ruined by the existence of this video, so at least wait until everyone's forgotten about it in a week or so. So that's my story on the most boring way to make 2.5 divines in around 20 minutes. Very often, Path of Exile is a game of resource management. So if you have resources that don't seem too useful to you, they might actually have a purpose that you're overlooking. Sometimes even junk essences can be quite valuable, since if a price disparity is big enough, you'll always profit by swapping them to something else. And who knows, there could be some other profitable uses for harvest crafts that I'll come across in the near future and share in future videos. For now, I'm curious, what's the last time that you thought something was absolutely useless or worthless in Path of Exile and it ended up being worth more than you think? Share some of your stories down in the comments below. A special thanks to my patrons and YouTube channel members. Your support helps keep me independent and allows me to turn down things like sketchy mobile game sponsorships. You can do so for as low as $1 a month over on Patreon, or if you want to support me completely for free, then you can join the community by hopping into my Discord, link below. If you want more content, check out my second channel, 10 Gaming Thoughts. It's a place that I use to review games, ramble my way through video essays, and a lot more. Or of course, you can just click the suggested video in the card right now. I hope you learned something today, and maybe I'll see you again sometime soon.